Hi, GenderBlenders. Welcome to week 65, and this week's question is, since the title of the channel is GenderBlenders, this question comes to mind. In what manner do you feel that binary sex categories are not beneficial and or in some way limit personal expression? If they don't, how do they help and how do they advance it? These kinds of questions get to the heart of some of the things that we do here, we as a group, and we individually. There's a mouse in my pocket, I guess. It's an appropriate name. We're all a blend to some extent. Whether we identify as binary, whether we don't identify as binary. I don't think there is any such thing as a direct male gender or a direct female gender. I think there's little shades of gray in between. However, the caveat in all of this, for me, and this relates to me, it may not relate to anyone else in this group, although I think it does to some. I'm definitely binary oriented. And now I have to give you some background information to make sense of what I'm about to say. And you've heard me say this in a couple of other videos. Initially, I was confused as to what I was. And I didn't know I was transgendered when the girl in me emerged. See, I put myself on hormones. And so I started fishing around trying to figure out what in the heck was going on. And I took one of these little internet transgender tests and came out exactly right in the middle. So that didn't help a bit. I mean, it was impossible to get closer to the middle. I scored exactly in the middle. So there was an awakening. How did I get an awakening? My hero. So hearkening back to last week's topic a little bit. My hero. I think you folks know who that is. Shane. I emailed her and said, what the heck am I? And I got a response back that said in part, did you ever think that maybe you are multi-gendered? More of an expressionism form of trans person, or maybe a gender bender, which pushes the boundaries of formal male-female constraints into the other side, erasing this separation line. There are so many different degrees and forms of being transgendered. And you know, I had never looked at it that way. And she's right. And what it did, it caused an awakening in me. It says, my goodness, there is more than just male, female. I had never given that any thought. Never really had. And so I started self-exploring as to what in the heck am I? And I identified myself as a binary female. So that in and of itself helped. You know, I said, well, maybe I'm kind of non-specific here. That didn't give me the right answer. And I kept going and kept going and going. When I hit the identification, it says, well, maybe I'm just a regular female. Everything clicked. So I am. And so that's how I identify. But, so that's the background you needed. Limits to personal expression. Well, there's binary sex and binary gender. Let's take a look at gender for just a moment. If you take a picture of a group, okay, you have 100 people in a group. And you have someone, anyone, rank those 100 people, male to female. This is 100% male. This is 100% female. This is 79% female and the rest male. This, I can't identify. It's 50-50. And so forth. What I think you'll find is you're going to get what's called a bimodal distribution. Sorry for the technical jargon. And is what that means is, you've seen the standard bell-shaped curve, called a normal distribution. Well, when it's bimodal, that means that there's two humps in it, okay? Yes, one that's predominantly somewhere in the male region, and one that's predominantly somewhere in the female region. Very interesting. So, we tend to, probably as a result of a whole bunch of things, any of us, tend to think in that way. Sex, take that group, and now you're going to have to get a hold of that group that you just had a picture of, and have them rank their sexual preference. You're going to get several buckets. Guys preferring guys, guys preferring girls, girls preferring girls, girls preferring guys, guys preferring both, guys preferring neither, girls preferring, you get the idea. There's lots and lots of variation you're going to find in there. Way more than that nice bimodal distribution we got for gender. So where does the bimodal distribution from gender come from? Maybe it comes from language. Maybe it comes from language. We have male, he. We have female, she. We have neuter, it. We have some constructs, z, instead of he or she. But primarily we have those three, male, female, and neuter. So maybe that gives us all an unconscious bias to bucket gender into. So, does that limit our personal expression? Doesn't have to. How can we use this thing that we're stuck with, to some extent, language and so forth, to help advance our own personal expression? Use those language limitations. Don't respond to non-acceptable generalizations. What do I mean by that? Well, we have some people at work. Just give you an example. We have some people at work who, not in any bad sense of the word whatsoever, but just because they're who they are, that say, "Well, gentlemen, let's." So I pipe up, "What about me?" "Well, gentlemen, ladies." Now you've just used the language limitation to help your self-expression. Don't respond to non-acceptable generalizations. Somebody calls me sir, I generally ignore them because they clearly are talking about someone else, not me. So that helps advance my own personal expression just by how I respond to what our language does. So that's a couple cents worth of what this all means. Are these categories beneficial or not? Well, they're there. They're just there. So we can make them beneficial if we want to. So that's my summary out of all of this. They're just there. We can push the boundaries on male and female, just like Shana mentioned to me in my first email ever to her. And her response to it, I should say. And but there's different degrees of being transgendered, and how we fit in is for us to decide. And we can then use that language to make that help. So that's my response. Hope that helped. Until next week, this is Steffi saying bye-bye.